The following thoughts on Hoppe Hour do not represent Cox Media Group or its sponsoring. Anything you hear may and will be used against you. Thank you. Voted as best local podcast in Tampa Bay by the Creative Loafing. You're listening to Hoppe Hour.
What up? What is happening? This is Hoppe Hour. I am your host, Ryan Hoppe. And live at Hoppe Hour is Amanda Jordan, who was voted best local up-and-coming comedian in the Tampa Bay area by the Creative Loafing. I also was voted best local podcast. So, Amanda, we're both award winners colliding on a badass podcast.
Yes.
How excited are you? How honored are you?
Oh, I'm so honored to be sitting here with you.
You can put it on your resume that you sat in on Hoppe Hour.
I can. Yeah.
I've had literally everyone on here.
You have. You've had everybody in. You've had most of the Tampa comedians in here with you.
You were too cool for me last month. You're like, oh, I can't go on. Sorry. Then you reach out a month later, like, can I come on?
Because I was in Atlanta. I was working. I was doing shows in Atlanta. Sorry. I gotta work, man.
How has that been? You've been doing a lot of shows in Atlanta. How's that been going?
It's very well. It's going very well. I have to go back up there at the beginning of next month to do some work as well. So
you're making it seem like it's a chore. I have to go back.
Oh no, I don't mean it like I have to. Like it's going really well. And I'm very thankful that I'm getting invited back by clubs and whatnot.
How did you get the connection to go to Atlanta? Because that's sort of far.
I was actually talking to Jonas, who's also one of the local comedians, and he goes up there, and I had a friend that was moving up there, so I just figured, I could stay up there with her for the time being and then do some work, and Jonas hit me up with the Atlanta comedy calendar, so we kind of just went from there, and so I'll go up there once a month to do work.
What's the comedy scene like up there?
It's very interesting because it is very extensive. Atlanta's obviously, it's the largest city in the South, so it's huge. So there's a lot of opportunity. But the funny thing is you would think that the competition up there, like there would be a lot more talent since it's such a bigger city, and if any one of those people came down to Tampa, they would just get slaughtered. There's not a lot of talent for as much opportunity as there is. There's not a lot of talent.
Look at you, big shot, critiquing everybody.
No, I'm just saying it's very funny because I think you can walk into almost any club. No, I know you can walk into almost any club in Tampa because I do it on a regular basis, and unless you're a seasoned comedian, you are going to be one of 5 or 10 funny people in the room. But if anybody in Tampa, any comic in Tampa, seasoned comedian walked into any club in Atlanta, they would be the funniest person in that club.
Would you say that, like, when you go up there, you just, like, kill it when you go up to Atlanta?
Absolutely.
What is some of the jokes that you use in Atlanta? Because what I see is when there's a comic that visits town that's new, they like to critique the town. Like, a lot of people that visit Tampa make fun of our taxis and how we're just batshit crazy here. What do you critique when you go to Atlanta?
The traffic, because it's god-awful. It's the worst. Aside from L.A., it's the worst thing I've ever seen in my life. L.A. is the worst traffic I've ever been in.
You haven't been to Chicago, then?
I have, but I was really little and not driving, so I didn't really care. But that's the thing with LA, there's no taxis. So it's like down here, there's no taxis. So you're driving everywhere. We're just in Chicago or New York. The traffic sucks, but you can get a taxi.
It's bad down here. It is.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
Going across the Howard Franklin sucks. And the most underrated bad traffic down here is just St. Pete. Like US 19, people just don't care. They'll just merge in the lanes without using turn signals.
Oh, yeah. I was up here a couple months ago doing a show, and some guy in the middle lane, I was in the far left lane. This guy in the middle lane decided he wanted to turn down the street to the left of me. Just turned right into my car, took like the front half of it with him.
And then you honk at them, you go around them, and they look at you like, you're in my way now, jackass.
People, now the traffic is bad because of the time of year, but people here drive like they don't care about you. But I will say, for as much of that as I see here, I think there's idiot drivers here. I think, like, in Atlanta, people literally don't care about you. They really honestly don't. I mean, whether they're driving or anywhere else in their life, like, they just don't care. So when you're on the road in Atlanta, you have to be like I am constantly like turning my head every which way because nobody else is paying attention. That's just the bottom line. I almost see a car accident every day that I'm up there. It's crazy.
If you were to explode on the scene down there, would you want to move to Atlanta?
Oh, my God. If it were for, I've talked about that several times since I've started going up there. I would be willing to move up there because, like, for my career to better that. But it's not my favorite place that I've ever been.
What's it like? Because it's a major market. It's like a top 10 city.
Yeah.
But I feel like it's just blah. It's just average.
The thing is, I think when you go and you visit major cities, and I've been to several, obviously for work and whatnot. I think when you go to major cities, especially ones that you hear about all the time, like you go to an LA or you go to New York, or you go to Nashville or Chicago or something like that, you have like this almost like awe about you, like, oh my God, like this is huge, like I'm here, this is awesome, it's beautiful, it's this, it's that. And I've heard other people say this about Atlanta, and this is how I feel about it. I have no emotion towards it. I'm like, oh, I mean, it is what it is. It's not flashy. It's not. I mean, it's just a city. I don't really have any.
I feel like the South just isn't flashy. Tampa Bay's cool. I like the comedy scene and radio scene, but I just feel like there's no Chicago or Dallas or New York.
Right.
It's just the South is weird in general. Do you notice that?
Yeah, and that's kind of how I felt. I was like, this is like Tampa to me, or like how I felt about Pittsburgh, even, where I was just kind of like, I'm here, but I don't feel like I'm not like, oh my God.
Well, that's the
amazing.
Rust Belt in just all around. Have you been to Cleveland?
Yes, I used to go to Cleveland all the time.
There's a good comedy scene out there, but Cleveland's one of the things where it's the most unhappiest place ever.
Yeah.
I worked for the biggest show out there, and the whole point of the show is to make fun of everybody, and that show wouldn't make it anywhere else because it's just making fun of people. But Cleveland's so unhappy that they embrace just making fun of each other.
Right.
All they do is drink. Did you notice that?
Yeah, I know a lot of people that come from that area, and that's why they moved, is because it's just a depressing area to be in.
The sun never comes out. Like when I moved down here, Amanda, the first thing I saw when I pulled to the side of the road in Jacksonville to get gas, I'm like, why is the sun out? I never saw a pure blue sky in the Midwest.
Oh my, yeah, it's gloomy up there, man. I couldn't do it. People want me to move to New York, and I'm like, there's no way I could ever live in New York.
What? You say that now, but if the money was right or the opportunity is right, it's the New York comedy scene. It's every comedian's dream. That's where I think you're just saying that. I think you would in a second.
LA would be my first choice, for sure.
Isn't it kind of douchey out there, though?
It's douchey here.
It's good douchey here because it's people watching. I love Tampa. I want to make it here. This whole area is so odd.
It is odd, but I mean, people in New York are douches too. It's a big city. People are dicks. And in New York, people are dicks in a cold atmosphere that moves like way too quickly. At least in LA, people are dicks and it's sunny and nice and there's like scenery to look at.
What I like about Tampa is it's very easy to make a splash on the scene if you're around the right people.
Yes.
With New York or Los Angeles, you have to be lucky. And there's so many good comics that never really make it in those big cities. And I'm the type of guy, I have an ego, Amanda, where I like the fact that my podcast won Best Local Podcast and that Mike Kelta has embraced me. And that happened the same way when I worked in Cleveland. That wouldn't happen in New York or Chicago. These big cities, there's so much competition in radio or just entertainment in general, you have no chance. Yeah. Okay, there's so many Jim Nortons and Howards and Opie and Anthony.
Yeah, but you have
Amy
to
Schumers.
But right, but for me, you have to believe that you're that good.
Oh, I believe I'm that good too, but you have to be real. I mean, so many people try to go to these big cities and they bomb.
They do, yeah.
But I know you have to go there. It's a once-in-a-lifetime thing, but you have to be real with yourself, and you have to figure out a way to be different than everyone else. To me, comedy and radio can be so hacky and unoriginal that people our age and our young 20s need to be different than the rest of the pack.
Yes, that's true. But I think that I have no problem embracing the fact that I'm different than most comedians that you're going to see, or most people that you're going to see.
What makes you
in
different?
General. I'm just not afraid to say whatever the hell I want to say. And I have an edge about me in an unapologetic way.
I like that.
Yeah, and I'm not sorry. And if you don't like it, then move on.
We're so uptight. We're a bunch of uptight pussies that get mad at everything. That's what I like about your comedy, is I feel like a lot of female comics, they're good, they're funny. I didn't like when Adam Carolla was like, no, women are funny.
Yeah.
women comics are funny, but a lot of times it's safe, easy humor,
Mm-hmm.
and you don't give a fuck, and you're like, fuck you. If you don't like my humor, get out.
Yeah, that's what I've done for a year and a half now, and it got me voted best best comedian in Tampa Bay. So
Did you go to the award show?
I didn't. No.
Why wouldn't you go?
I don't know. I think I was probably working that night, so
Yeah, I went. It was pretty cool just
Yeah.
to like see everybody around there.
Mike bought you a bunch of new clothes and everything.
You do listen, yeah.
Of course I listen. That's the first radio show I was ever on. I listen every morning.
Yeah, it was one of those things where I just felt so flashy being around Spanish and Celta, and the food there was amazing. And it's just, I felt like I was important for once. Then when I went back to my dump of an apartment, I'm like, oh yeah, I'm the lowest on
This
the
is my
totem pole.
life.
Has there been a moment, like when I'm around Mike Kelta or I have like big interviews like you, I feel very important. Who are people that you have met where you're like, oh my God, I'm around this person?
I walked into my friend. I had done a show at Zany's Comedy Club in Nashville, and the next day I walked in with my friend because he was going to do a show at Zany's, and we walked into the back room and David Spade was sitting there, and I was like,
I saw that picture.
holy fuck, David Spade is sitting back here, and he was like talking with us and eating with us, and he was cool as shit. Yeah, so that was really awesome. I freaked out a little bit.
Is he sort of like when he was on Just Shoot Me or Rules of Engagement where he's kind of that guy that doesn't care, or is he different than his normal TV characters? Like, what's David Spade like?
He's super mellow, and he was like we had gotten back there because he had just finished his show. We were about to do ours, and so we had just gotten back there, and he was like, "Oh, I'm sorry, guys, I'll get out of your way." And I'm like, "Are you fucking kidding me? Like, you're David Spade. Like, why are you apologizing to me? Like, why aren't you looking at me going, I'm sitting here, you leave?" Like, he was like, "Oh, I'm so sorry. Like, I'll be out of your way." So I'm like, "You can stay as long as you like to. Stay forever. You want to hang out afterwards?"
Yeah.
Yeah. So, he's very mellow. And yeah, he's a cool guy, and he was really nice, and he was sitting back there with some super hot chick, and I was like, of course, that's your life. You're awesome.
How jealous were you that he was around
I'm
that
not
hot
jealous.
chick? I bet you could have picked her up though.
Oh yeah, most likely, but I wasn't gonna. Yeah, I'm not jealous. I have my own ways.
What are your ways to get some
What are
good-looking
my-
chicks? How do you do it, Amanda?
I can't tell you that, or else you'll start using it, and
Oh, wait.
we'll be in competition with each other. I can't have that.
I think you'd be the best wing girl or whatever you want to call it for me. Come on.
That's what
You gotta
everybody says. They're like, "Come wingman me." And I will. I don't have a problem. I just did it with my friend at the bar the other night, actually. He was a hopeless cause, but I tried my hardest.
If he's a hopeless cause, then I'm like a puppy in the alley that needs guidance. I feel like we need to go out and get turned up, bring all our friends together. I feel like you would help me at the end of the night.
I could give you some advice, but it's like I said on Mo's show that one day, the best advice I can give you is to just have confidence. Girls love that.
And what I've worked on, too, was back then I did this fake act where I'm like, I got to bang out some poon. Now I'm
You
just being
said
a nice...
poon. You did say poon, and I told you to never say that again.
I think I said it a few more times, but now I'm being respectful, and I try to just be myself, which is the goofball. I tried to overcompensate and act like the frick, I bang out girls. I've only had sex 3 times. Who am I? I tried so hard to fit in when I first moved to town that it was funny, made people laugh, but it wasn't really me.
Right. Yeah, you just got to do you and just be confident and just be just be chill out. Mostly, I don't know. Like, I don't usually go up and approach people. I just kind of let them come to me, but I can tell like that vibe. Like, I can tell if like somebody's into me or somebody's, looking at me or whatever, and I'll go up and I'll say what's up. But I think that guys have a big problem with overcompensating. Like my friend the other night, his strategy was to just go up to these random girls and just start dancing on them. And I'm like, probably don't do that, man. You're the creep. Like, girls want to go out. They want to be with their girlfriends. Like, they don't want you coming up and rubbing your dick on their leg. Like, that's not what they're about right now.
What is the key? If there's a really cute girl and you're into her, but she's around her friends, what is the key to separating her from her friends? Or is it one of the things where you just don't even think about
You
it?
make it sound like you're trying to kidnap her. It's separating her.
Because this is what happened. Like 2 months ago, me and a few of my friends, I forget where we went. I think we went to Ferg's in downtown Tampa, and this girl was really into me. She liked the fact that I'm basically a virgin. I've just had sex 3 times. She liked that I was goofy, and we're grinding or we're making out on the dance floor. Then her friend takes her away, and I was too drunk to get her number. And to me, I'm not a big fan of cock blocking because these girls need to realize that their friends are their own person. And
that's what you have to deal with, though. And there's actually a comedian that has a joke about that. But that's what you have to do if you ever see girls in a group, because girls in a group are not like guys in a group. Like if you go out with your guy friends, or like I go out with my guy friends will split off and they do not care. Like hey, find your own way home. I'll walk home. If you're getting laid, I'll walk home. Like guys don't care when they're out. It doesn't matter. They don't need to know where the other person is. But girls going out, because I know this because I have girlfriends too. Girls going out as a group, they need to know where the other girl is at all times. And that's why, like, if you're going out with your guy friends, like if you're going out in a group, like even just 2 or 3 of you go out, if you want to hit on a girl and she's in a group of her friends, both of you have to get at least 2 of those girls. Because if you just walk up as a single person and try to grab one away, that flock is not leaving without that girl. Like, that's just not going to happen. They're not going to leave her there. They're not going to let her go home with you. And you can sit there all day and be like, she can make her own decisions. But that's just how they are. It's like no man left behind.
Is it weird to be a girl at times? Because, like, us men, I'm not saying I'm, like, badass or macho, but, like, no one ever, like, comes up to us and, like, flirts with us and is creepy. But is it different being a girl where you feel a little intimidated at times?
By men? Do I feel intimidated by men? No, I don't. Well, I don't really feel...
I know because you're lesbian that you're not into them and they can probably tell. But I'm saying if you were...
Oh, you would be surprised at how many men hit on me. And I'm like...
It must be flattering.
It's
got to be an ego boost.
No,
it's not. You could go both ways.
Oh, God, no. It happens at least. I would say it happens at least... If I go out, it happens at least once or twice a week.
What do you do to, like, make them go away? Are you like,
I just look at them and I go, are you fucking kidding me right now? And
you see my haircut?
Yeah, that usually I didn't know. And I'm like, you know.
I'll be honest. When I met you on the A Kid Named Mo show, I thought you were because of your hair, but because you looked cute and you had makeup on, I was like,
I think that confuses most people.
Yeah.
Because and I think that confuses people too. I was just talking to my friend about that the other day because all of my friends are straight. I don't hang out with any gay people at all. It's not like by choice. It's just my friends are straight, and I've just never had the need to hang out with a lot of gay people. And so I think that's weird though. Like my straight friends have... And it's funny because they've seen the type of girls that I date. And they'll try for whatever reason. Like the other day I was out with my friend Nick. And my friend Phil walks up and he's like, hey, I have this girl that I want you to meet. And I'm like, who? And he points to this like chick with like short hair and like a baseball hat. And I go, are you fucking kidding me right now? And he's like, what? She's gay. And I'm like, I think there's a very common misconception that like gay dudes just want to fuck all dudes and like gay women just want to fuck all, and that's not the case. Like I have a type.
What is
and
your
I
type?
Looked right at him and I was like, I want to fuck Angelina Jolie, not Brad Pitt. Do not try to set me up with your dykey friend. He's like, all right, like chill out, man. And I was like, but I think I
feel like you're the type that likes the girls I like. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, I like feminine girls. I don't like, even if, and I know this might sound like, I don't know, like I'm like super picky, but like even if a girl is super hot, but she has like short hair, I'm not into that. I can't do like short hair.
I've never seen that many couples in public where they're both short hair. I feel like, and just tell me if I'm right
never happens,
or I'm wrong,
really.
But I feel like it's always long hair, cute girl, and then short hair. You're one of the few lesbians, I'm not trying to sound rude, that actually puts on makeup and looks good. Because a lot of times you go, oh, she's a lesbian.
It's rough. It's a rough scene to look at sometimes. It's not pleasant. Yeah, and that's why I say I think that confuses people because I am a little more feminine than your average like stereotypical lesbian. But I think that it's funny that way because yeah, you'll never see like two like, you know, kind of more dominant females together, but you will see like my friend Sammy is gay and she's feminine and super hot, and her ex-girlfriend and all the girls that she's into are like super feminine girls, and you wouldn't think that would be her type because she's like very feminine, but like her type is my type. Like she loves like feminine girls, and she's to like even an extent where like she tries to hit on straight girls like all the fucking time. Like, so you'll see two feminine girls together a lot, but you'll never see that the other way around.
Now, do you go to gay bars or do you go to normal bars?
No, I never go to gay bars.
I feel like they're a weird vibe.
Yeah, gay bars are an extremely weird vibe. And the last time I went, was it the last time I went to a gay bar? I went to, it was one of the last times I went to a gay bar. First of all, I live in Sarasota, and there's like none there. There's one that's just terrible and trashy.
Thank you for coming by the show. That's a far-ass drive.
It's really not that bad. With all the driving I do, this is not bad at all. There's Honey Pot in Ybor. We went to Honey Pot. And one of the last times I went there, like 5 girls wanted to fight me because their girlfriend was looking at me, and I'm like, how is this my problem? Like, I didn't do this. I'm just here. Yeah. Like, I just walked into the place. So I don't do it for that reason, because I don't know, gay people can tend to get very confrontational, and you're right. It is it's a weird vibe in gay bars. I prefer, like, I'm the worst gay person ever. I go to only straight bars. I hang out with straight people. But I think for me, it's because I feel like a lot of gay people feel like they need to go to gay bars to get laid or to, you know, whatever. And that's never happened for me. Like, I've never needed to do that. Thank God.
Do you have a gaydar where if you go to a normal bar, you can kind of tell, even if the girl's drop dead gorgeous, is there a way you can tell if she's lesbian or not?
No, I have terrible gaydar. I have the worst gaydar of all time. And that's what's weird about like me hitting on people, is because, like I said, the girls that I'm generally attracted to look like they would be stereotypically straight. So I don't usually just walk up and hit on a girl because I don't want to be disrespectful. If she's straight, that's not what she's into. Like, I don't want to be disrespectful. The only times that people usually approach me, I've really lucked out in that sense, especially with comedy. People will usually approach me, which is awesome because I don't have to put in all that effort. But the only times that I will really like approach a girl, like I remember I was standing at the bar one time and this girl just kept, every time I turned around, she was staring at me.
Was she hot?
Extremely hot. So I finally like walk up to her and I'm like, what's up? And her friend was like, she wants to fuck you really bad. And I'm like, yeah, I can kind of tell that. And so like we hit it off and we ended up hooking up and whatever. But yeah, that's the only time I've done that.
Every time I've had sex, it wasn't with a relationship or feelings. It was always, okay, I got to tell you this. When I lost my V card, it was to a 48-year-old MILF who was a fan of radio.
Yeah.
And we banged about 4 times, and it's weird. When you don't have any type of like vibe with the girl and you're just banging her, once you climax and you're like, okay, how do I leave?
This is getting real.
With girls, when you have a one-night bang, how does it work? Do you want to see the girl again? What's the vibe like after both of you guys climax? Do you guys cuddle? Or are you like, I got to go watch SportsCenter? You know what I mean? Guys usually just want to get the fuck out of there after they fucked. Are you that way, and are lesbians that way? Or is there more like girls that just want to hang out because you guys are more feminine?
Girls always want to hang out.
Yeah. Do you know what I mean?
No, I do. I'm just trying. I've had different experiences. There are some girls where like I think it's just the vibe that I pick up on. There are some girls where I'm like, yeah, let's hang out. Let's do whatever. There's other times where like, okay, one time I went to a bar. This is like just an example. I went to a bar and there was this girl I went to high school with who I thought was straight because she had only ever had boyfriends and she had just gotten out of like a really serious relationship with this guy that she was like living with for a couple years and whatnot. So I didn't even think anything of it. And it's like super late. Bar's about to close. And I walked out in the parking lot for a second and I left my sister and my friend inside. And my sister and my friend and I had all ridden in my car together. And so I walk outside and like next thing I know, the girl walks up to me and she's like, hey, just so you know, I'm not trying to go home alone tonight. And I go, yep, okay. And so I walk back inside And I told my sister, I was like, you got to find a way home. And she was going home with some dude anyway. So I was like, cool, awesome. And then I turned to my friend Nick and I'm like, you need to take my car home. Are you cool with that? I'm going to get a ride with this chick back to her apartment. And he was like, cool. So I get back to her apartment and I wasn't really thinking anything of it. But like right after we were done, like I laid down to go to sleep and I rolled over and I grabbed my phone. I'm like, hey, come get me like right in the morning. And he's like, okay. And I woke up the next day. I wasn't playing because I didn't go to bed till like 5 a.m. So I was like, come get me at like 10. And I woke up at like 7. I was like, come get me now. Please be awake. Come get me right now. And she was like, do you want breakfast? If you don't want to hang out with her, do not eat breakfast with her. Do not eat breakfast. Do not do brunch. No, if you're not into it, get out. But there are some girls where, yeah, I do want to hang out. It's just the vibe that I pick up on. I'm either into it or
I feel like you get laid a lot.
Yeah,
I feel like you do very well for yourself.
I do very well for myself. I'm not like, it's not a, it is what it is. Are
you sort of promiscuous a little bit? Are you living life a little bit, Amanda?
I don't know.
I'm not trying to give you a bad image. I just get the vibe. This time I had sex with a girl. This time I just feel like you have sex a lot.
I've had promiscuous moments. Yeah. I've had some interesting nights and some interesting opportunities.
What were those nights? Like a threesome?
No, I've gotten invited to do so many threesomes.
Do it. That's the holy grail of life.
I know, but I've never done it because it's always been like, it's always been in a situation. If I got invited to do a threesome where it was just girls, oh yeah, all day long. But it's always my guy friends that want to have a threesome. You just turned off
by penises?
Well, and it's also a situation where I've had to tell them, like, if this happens, I don't even want to see your dick. Like, I'm not looking down at you. We can't make eye contact. Don't touch me. Like, we can't. You go north and I go south. Like, we're not gonna, like, that kind of thing. And so I've had that conversation with plenty of people. Actually, I think I was getting a tattoo the other day and my tattoo artist was kind of hinting at me that he wants me to have a threesome with him and his fiance. So I was like, maybe, I don't know. It's going to be pretty awkward to have you do my tattoos after this.
It's weird. I feel like girl threesomes, all girls, I feel like it looks different than normal, like a guy and then two girls. I feel like it's just all like 6'9", 6'9". There's not much you can do. I'm not trying to be dirty or pornographic. My show usually isn't this dirty, but I feel like it's just going south of the border and then tossing salad. I feel like it's a weird vibe when it's just
what tossing salad is, right?
Yes.
Not everybody does that. That's a super. Do you know what that is?
Yes, I know what tossing
salad is.
Okay,
I'm just saying, you're acting like it's a regular thing that everybody does.
I just feel like
not a lot of people do that.
I could see you doing it, though. The quiet, I have to drink water.
Listen, here's the thing. No, I've gotten invited to do a lot of threesomes. It's never like panned out for one reason or another. And I think it's mostly because as much as I love my friends, and I do have some guy friends that I know for a fact like would not like try anything, but I think with dudes it would be just so awkward. Like I don't want my guy friends naked anywhere near me. Like I just don't. So it's just never really.
Don't ever do it because then you're going to be drunk and I promise you will hook up with the guy.
No, I will not. There's no way. That would never happen.
It'll just ruin your guy
That
friends
would be
forever.
like me telling you, in all honesty, that would be like me telling you, hey, Ryan, don't have sex with another dude, like with another dude in the mix, because you guys will end up fucking. And you're going to be like, no, we would never. I'm a girl and I have a vagina. I will never fuck a guy. It's just not going to happen. It's not on my radar. It's not what I want. God, I don't even want to think about it.
Is it different when you have sex with a bisexual girl than a normal girl?
I mean, I've had sex with straight girls, a lot of straight girls, actually.
Oh, my God. Wow.
Which then you kind of have to put air quotes around it. Like, I was having sex with this one girl, and she was like, it was like either right after we'd finished having sex or like during it or whatever, and she was like, but I'm straight. And I'm like, you're straight. Like, you just had sex with, and I was the only girl she ever did anything with at all. But you still got to put that, like, asterisk next to it. Like, okay, but you're into me. And I've had that a lot, though. even with doing stand-up, almost every time I do a show, like I have a straight girl come up to me that's like, I'd never been with a girl, but like I'd fuck you. And I'm like, okay, cool, thank you.
What do you do when you're up there that just turns these girls on? Like, what is it about you?
I really don't know.
You just go up there and you're Amanda Jordan, and then they're turned on.
It's not that, and I'm not doing anything on purpose. I don't know. But I do attract a lot of straight girls, and I think I've had some where, it's different and it's kind of awkward, and then I've had some where it's the same and there's like really no difference. I think it's their vibe.
I think it's the vibe that you put on makeup and that you're good looking, that people are intrigued by that. I think that's what it is. I think
people are definitely intrigued by me, 100%. And I don't mean that in a cocky way, but I can tell.
Oh, it is a cocky thing. Come on.
No, it's not. People are intrigued by me. I don't know why. I don't know what I'm doing.
I was intrigued by you. I wasn't like checking you out, but I'm like, wow, she's cute. Is she gay or straight? It was one of those things.
You. Well, but you make a good point, because my twin sister, you met, I don't know if you remember her. She was sitting on the couch that one day at Mo's show, and she has short hair. It's not as short as mine, but she has short hair and she's straight. So I think you make a good point where, yes, people do kind of look at me and they're like, like what's going on, you know?
Yeah.
But yeah, and I think maybe if anything, maybe that's what's intriguing about me. I don't know, but
I'm not trying to make this such a filthy show.
Go for it, dude. We're already in it. Might as well keep going.
No pun intended. See, I can be a comedian.
Yeah, go for it. All your sex jokes.
What's it like having sex with a girl in an enclosed space? Because when it's a guy and a girl, obviously you can figure it out. But I feel like if you have sex in a car or a closet, it's sort of hard to like do it.
Maneuver. Yeah, it's not.
It's not conventional.
It's not my favorite place, especially because I drive such a tiny car that if I like the very few times that I have had sex in my car, it is like we're just bumping into way too much shit. Like it's just too like there's no room. It's tight. It's a tight squeeze place. And I'm and it's just too, I can't, and I like to be, I am not the type of person when I have sex, I'm not just gonna lay in one place. Like you're all over the place with me.
I feel like you're a freak.
Yeah. So I can't do it where like, that's what's mostly awkward about car sex to me, is the fact that I can't do every position that I'd like to do, because this leg is on the center console and then that leg is it, and it's just like so I prefer to have sex in like on the bed, or even the couch is too small. The floors are good. Floors are good. Countertops are good for that.
Man, you do it everywhere. It's one of those things, though, when you have sex in a car, I feel like if I was walking down the block, I feel like you would just see the car go up and down, because it's so small.
I've had sex on my car, and that was shaking really badly. Yeah. On the hood.
Where's this at? Like, I'm not trying to figure out where it happens, but like, where are you having sex on a car where you're not afraid that someone's going to see or that a cop shows up?
I've had cops. I had my window knocked on by a cop in the middle of it one time, and I was like, oh shit. And I was young too. I was like maybe 17, 18. So I was definitely in like, oh fuck mode. No, that time was after I had left a club and the club had closed and there were no cars anywhere, and it was in such a desolate area that I wasn't at all worried about like a cop being anywhere. So I was like,
what did he end up doing? Yeah. Did he just say get out of here? Does he ticket you?
He didn't ticket me. I forget what he said. There was like a knock on my window, and I'm like, oh shit. And I don't even remember because it was so long ago.
Were you guys like
he was
naked?
Basically just like, pretty much. He's like, hey, just stop doing what you're doing. And I'm like, cool. And then so I just went somewhere else and did it.
I don't get that. It's hard to just interrupt people like having sex.
If I were a cop and I saw people having sex, I would just let them have sex. Like, why are you? I don't understand that.
It's just such an awkward thing to just quit banging. Thank you.
Yeah, like stop fucking. Like, why do you care that I'm fucking in this car? I'm not hurting anybody. Like, it's my car. Let me do what I want to do in it. It's my property. Leave me alone. I understand that I'm on somebody else's property, but like, let's just leave that out of it.
Even them, they'd be happy for you. Good job, Amanda.
Yeah,
You're getting laid.
if you are a cop and you're going to knock on somebody's window for having sex, you better just high five me. Like, don't tell me to stop doing it. I would not. It's a major cock block. I don't like cock blocks. My sister is the biggest cock block of all time.
What does she do?
We were out at Madeira Beach one time, and we were out for one of Pitbull Toddler shows.
Nice.
And so, so this was like maybe about a year or so ago. And there was this girl, when they like, have you been to Pitbull Toddler shows?
Like 9 of them.
So, at the end when they like pull everybody up on the stage.
Oh, that's awesome.
So they always pull me up on the stage. So I was up there and this chick just comes up and starts making out with me. And I'm like, all right, yeah, cool. And so we like walk off and I come back and Mike's like, starts saying something to me and I'm like, what? And he's like, where'd you go with that girl? And I'm like, I just went somewhere. Why? What do you care? And he goes, dude, I had to stop your sister. And I'm like, what was my sister trying to do? And he goes, she thought you were like banging this chick in your car. And she's like, let's go up and like bang on Amanda's window. And he's like, I had to stop her from cock blocking you. And that's all she does though. Like if I'm going out, I don't know. She hates when I get laid and she hates
Is
like.
She maybe jealous?
Maybe.
Even though it's a girl and she's not into that, is she sort of jealous that you have the swag to get it done and maybe she doesn't?
I think that with her, it's the fact that, like, I don't know, it's weird. Like, if she were to come to me and be like, oh my God, my boyfriend and I just fucked all night, I'd be like, cool, that's what adults do. Like, I don't care. But if I were to come to her and be like, oh my God, totally fucked that girl last night, she'd be like, oh, that's so gross. Like, I don't want to hear about this. Like, she's just something about, like, I don't know what it is about her. She's a very reserved person, whereas I'm, like, really outgoing and I don't give a fuck about anything.
I can tell.
Yeah, she's a super reserved person. So I think she just doesn't like to hear that, or I don't know what it is. But, like, if we go out to a bar, I don't know why, because we're twins, and people will think we're together. And it's first of all, that's gross. And second of all, I hate that because I'm like, hey, I want to like hook up tonight, so always be 5 feet away from me. Like, don't be next to me. And she's like, fuck you. And if I say that, she will be on top of me the whole night, like just to make sure that like I'm not getting laid. And I'm like, I fucking hate you. And I don't know why she does it.
Then don't go out with her.
I don't. We never go out anymore together. Ever. If we do, I make sure that she has her friends that she's with so that I can go off and I can do my own thing.
Even then, she would try to cock block you anyway.
Well, yeah. I mean, you saw, like, she was sitting down having a conversation with Mike Calta and starts talking to Mike about coming and cock blocking me. And the only reason she didn't is because Mike was like, don't be a dick, and like had to tell her not to come cock block me. But yeah, she's a cock block.
Was it hard to come out to your parents? Like, what's it like?
No, it was
Really?
so anticlimactic. Like, I go to my mom, I go, hey, I'm gay. My mom goes, yeah, I know. And I go, thanks. Should I tell Dad? And she goes, we've already talked about it. And I'm like, all right, cool.
I bet they could tell by the type of hair you had. They're like, yeah, she's
no, because I had long hair when I
really?
told them. Yeah, I had
Then
long
how
hair
did they
back then.
know?
Probably because I was not as sneaky as I thought I'd be. I'd be like, hey, my friend's coming over. We're going to go hang out in my room for like 3 hours. See ya. The TV is going to be really loud for no reason. Bye. And I think that's probably what made them go, hey, yeah, you bring a lot more girls into your room than Asia brings into her room.
Now,
what's happening?
I didn't lose my V card until I was 22 years old, and it was at a MILF's house, so obviously I never had sex in the same house as my parents. Is it one of the things where, is it weird when you're banging a girl on your bed while your parents are home and you're like, they might walk in? Or do you think they're just like, we're not going to even...
I'm pretty sure that they're aware of what's happening now, so they don't go anywhere near my room.
You live at home?
Yeah, I just had to move back into my parents' house, so that was fun. No, I think that I think, okay, let me put it this way. This is what my mom, this is like the last thing my mom said to me. She goes, I don't want to think about what you're doing in your bedroom any more than you want to think about what I'm doing in my bedroom. And I go, perfect. So you know what's happening and you respect that, and that's just how it is. So it's
try to not be so loud and just blare the TV and you're like, let's just have a party.
I'm not the loud one. I'm not loud. It's the other person that I have to be cautious of.
You do a good job then.
Oh, yes. I'm, yeah. So I've had like a couple like, shut the fuck up. Like I'm always going, shut the fuck up. Because I can only turn like, and I'm not turning my TV up to a point where it's like, I'm not trying to make it too obvious. Like clearly, or I'll turn my radio on or something like that. So, or music. I usually like will put music on, which isn't rare because I will turn my music up really loud whenever I'm writing or whenever I'm like rehearsing stuff. So I'll like put my music on, and I think like maybe, I don't know that would, but maybe that like kind of deters what they're thinking. But yeah, I can only make it so loud before like the whole fucking neighborhood hears it. So I've put some hands over some mouths. I've been like, I'm really sorry about this, but you're just gonna just shut up for a second. Yeah.
Man, you've lived quite the life. I'm speechless. Like, I knew you were promiscuous because I read your posts on Facebook and they're very open. You're like, I want to fuck Angelina Jolie.
Yeah.
You put that as a post. But I didn't know that you have a fun time, Amanda.
I do have a fun time. Why waste it? I'm living life. Yeah, I have a good time.
I got to figure it out. Do you ever use mobile apps? Does that help you get laid?
No, I've never, no, I've just, I don't know how it comes about. Like, because if I sit here and I don't think of myself as necessarily a promiscuous person, but if I add up the numbers and I go through like,
yeah,
the times and I think about like occasions, I think that it does come off that way. But no, like I've never had to go to gay clubs. I've never had to download apps. Mobile apps are fun, but I've never had had to do any of that stuff.
Women get a bad rap. Us dudes, we give each other knuckles. Yeah, you bang that girl. Yeah, you bang that girl. But when girls have sex and are living life, we go, yeah, she's a slut.
Yeah.
To me, there is way too much slut shaming. So that's why I don't look down on you at all. A lot of people might go, yeah, she's a slut. No, you're not. You're no different than a dude who bangs girls. It's ridiculous how slut shaming happens.
I've never been slut shamed. All my friends are like, hell yeah. Like nobody's ever like, Amanda, you're a whore. Everyone's like, Amanda.
Look and think that you're a slut by.
Do they? I don't know. I've never had that reaction.
Listens, they might go, Jesus, she has sex a lot. It's no different than like a guy that just sleeps around.
No, it really isn't. It's no different at all. I've never, I've never had that. My sister calls me a slut all the time. I had a girl run out of my house and yell at me but she was just angry for no reason. That was on her. That wasn't because of me. That was her own problem.
What did you do? I want to know.
She was just mad. She was just mad because she was mad, and I think, because we had agreed that we would that we could talk to other people, that we could see other people, and then I did that, and then that wasn't okay, and I hate that because I've had so many situations with girls where they're like, you can do whatever you want. And I'm like, you probably shouldn't say that to me because I will. And they're like, no, I'm serious. You can do whatever you want. But then I go and I do whatever I want, and then I'm in trouble because I've done whatever I want. Because girls have a habit of saying they're okay with something because I think they like to come off like they don't care. But then when that thing happens, they're like, oh, shit, like I care. Like I wanted to act like I didn't, but I do, and now you're in trouble. And that's the thing. I'm always in trouble.
Do you like when you have a girlfriend, or do you rather just be a free spirit?
It's easier to be single because I'm not dealing with somebody like, I don't have to deal with somebody else's, emotions and, stuff like that. And I don't have to deal with, because, girls aren't easy. They're not. They never have been. It's really like it's a difficult thing, and I want and to me I don't care. Like, because to me personally, I know that I can deal with it. I can be like, hey, you're being a little crazy. Calm down for a second. But it's still like, I think that for the most part, like, girls are very indecisive and they don't know what they want, and so one minute they want this and the next minute they want that, and I just cannot keep up with that. If I found somebody that knew what they wanted and they were good, I'd be down. But I think girls make relationships more difficult than they have to be.
Speaking of knowing if you want something or not, do you want to get married? The good old getting married and have kids, are you into that?
I think that one day that I would like to have kids. Like, I think a little me would be so fucking cool, like, because I'm cool. So, you know, I think that would be cool. And I did have a serious girlfriend for like a year and a half that had a kid, and I loved that kid, and I loved hanging out with him, and I loved doing stuff with him. So I could definitely, like, I think one day, yes. I don't know about getting married. I've always been very indecisive about that. I would like eventually would I like to find somebody that, like, that's the only person I want to be with. I want to settle down with you. Yes. But like the whole marriage and like the commitment and like prenups and like this and that, like I don't know if I want to deal with all that. I would just like to be like, I love you. I want to spend the rest of my life with you, but I don't want a contract. So like, I don't think that I want that.
Here's what I don't get. I get that gay people want to have equal rights, which I'm completely fine with, but I don't know why they just want to get married. Like,
I've never understood that. I mean, when they passed gay marriage like a couple months ago and everybody was freaking the fuck out, I was like, woohoo. Like, I didn't care. I've never cared. I'm where you're at, where it's like, I get it that they should be able to, and they should have those rights. If they want to get married, they should be able to. But I've personally never cared. Whether it passed or it didn't pass, it was never going to change my life, because I've never had a desire to be like, I want to get married. Again, I've had a desire to spend the rest of my life with somebody, but I just don't, the whole like actual like marriage.
Yes.
I just don't think I want that.
The idea that you have to be with that person for the rest of your life and you can't have sex with anybody else. And it's not even the sex part. It's just when you get older, maybe they gain weight.
Oh my God, Ryan. I don't know.
You know what I mean. You might lose the attraction. I don't know. It's just marriage seems weird that you have to be with that person for the rest of your life. And how do you know? When you get married, you're at the top of the mountain. You guys love each other, but so many marriages end in divorces.
Yeah.
Why? It's just, I think I'm going to get married, but it just seems like it's something
you shouldn't get married. Don't get married.
How come?
Because of what you just said. What if she gains weight? What if she gains weight? Like, that's like the least of your concerns. You should be like, what if she cheats on me? What if she decides she's going to leave me and steals half my shit? Like, I've never been like a type of person that's again, like about somebody cheating on me. I'm very confident in myself. I'm really good at relationships. Like, cause I'm so like
dominant.
I'm very dominant, but I'm also like, I'm a really caring person. And so I've never been worried about that. But with my thing, like I want to work really hard, and I want to have, I want a lot of things, and I don't want somebody to go, hey, I'm leaving with, 3 out of the 5 cars, or I'm, taking the house in LA or whatever. I don't want that. And I understand that there's a piece of paper that I can sign that says you can't get that stuff, but I don't want to have to do that. And I feel like, yeah, I'm with you, where like marriages like fall apart and you never know, and it's just I don't want that. And I just feel like it's so much easier to just be able to be like, okay.
I just feel like you can never know enough about somebody. I feel like there's something hidden.
Yeah.
Even if you know her for 5 years and you're in love and you're best friends and you guys click so well, I feel like there's always something about somebody that you never know.
There's always some shit that can happen. Like these people I've seen, like, because everybody gets engaged around Christmas and whatnot, and I've seen people that don't even know each other for a year that are getting like engaged, and I'm like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
You don't know this person. You don't, and you think you do because you're like, I spend every day with them. Okay, fantastic. When I was 19, I was dating this girl, and we dated for a year and a half, and I was crazy in love with her.
Yeah.
And if I had married her, oh my God, like I would have killed myself by now, because you think like, well, we've been together, like I'm in love with you. You're still in that like honeymoon stage. You don't freaking know. Like there are people that have been together for 10 years that decide they don't want to be together anymore. Like for one reason or another, like it just doesn't work out. And so you see these people that get engaged after 3 months or 5 months, or I don't think even a year is good to get engaged. If I were to ever get engaged, it would have to be like, I would say,
how long?
I would say I'd have to be with you for at least 5 or more years.
Yeah, it has to be a half a decade. You have to truly know them.
And I say 5, I mean more like 6 or 7.
Yeah.
Because I don't think you don't know. I'm still changing as a person. Like, I'm not the same person I was 2 or 3 years ago. So, and I'm not going to be the same person 5 years from now. And that's the other thing. I see these people are my age and what are you thinking?
I know.
Like, you are not the same person that you're going to be in 10 years. You're just not. And, you know, your personality could change and what you want can change. And it just blows my mind that these people like do that stuff. And I don't mean to be negative, but I'm like, half of these are not going to end well.
I think you should not be allowed to get married until you're at least 29 or 30 because your hormones are so up.
Yeah.
I'm not even trying to be a pig again, but what if she does gain weight and you lose attraction and you're a good-looking guy? You can get any girl you want. Obviously, I wouldn't be in that situation. I'm just saying, it's just, if you're getting married at 22 to 26, that is so young because you're in the prime of your hormones in your life. Why are you just with one girl?
Well, that was why, that was one of the reasons that, it was one of many, but it was one of the reasons that I broke up with my ex because I still am, 24 and she was 28 and she had just gotten out of a relationship where she was engaged. And I mean, not only that, but she's 28.
Yeah.
In 2 years, I'm not even going to be as old as she is. And I sat down and I thought about that because my friends would see her and they were like, dude, she's so awesome. Like, you think you're going to settle down and da-da-da-da. And I would really sit and I think about it. And I'm like, in 2 years, I'm not even going to be as old as she is right now. But in 2 years, she's going to be 30 and she's going to want kids and she's going to want to get married. She wants to get married right now. I mean, she was just engaged. So clearly that's something that she wants. So she's going to want, and I knew she wanted to get married. And I was like, I don't want to do that. We've been together for 6 months. I have known her for years as a friend. But in a relationship sense, I don't know you and I don't know you well enough to know if I want to marry you. And that was one of the things where I was like, in 2 years, I'm going to be 26 years old. I don't want to get married. I don't want to have kids right then. And in 2 years for you, the clock's going to be ticking. Why am I not married? Why don't I have kids yet? Blah, 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 blah. And I'm just not at that point. And I think that people just rush that stuff way too fucking quickly.
I'm not sure if this would be the healthiest thing to do, but would you ever want to be single and just get a sperm donor and have a kid by yourself?
Ew, I would never have my own kid, first of all.
You would adopt?
That is the job of whoever I'm with, not me.
But if you were to get a kid, would you ever do it by yourself?
Just get a kid.
Yeah, whatever. Just go
just go grab a kid.
I could see you making that work.
Yeah.
How does that work in the gay community? Does that ever happen where...
You need to watch The L Word.
Is it on Netflix?
Yes, it is on Netflix. It's about it's about lesbians in LA. And they do all that kind of stuff. If I were single long enough, if I got to a point in my life where I was in my 30s and single, would I don't know. That's not something I've ever thought about.
I just broadened your horizon.
Yeah. I've never even thought about really adopting kids. I don't know. Probably not. I don't know. I don't think I would, because I wouldn't want to do this single parent thing. Not that there's anything against that, but if I were going to have kids, I'd want it to be a family type of situation. So I don't want kids so badly that I'm oh my God, I want kids really bad. So if I don't meet anybody, I'm going to go to extremes to get a fucking kid. If I have to go to Africa and steal one of them and bring them on the plane home, I'll put that fucker in my duffel bag and use him as a carry-on. And no, I've never... But so no, I wouldn't do that. But if it would definitely be if I'm with somebody for long enough and we have a kid, and at that point you do it's basically a science project. You do your little fertilization thing and all that.
Now, everything we've just talked about, is that used in your shows? Or do you try to keep it on the low key?
I do talk about sex in my shows. I talk about because I've had some, like you were talking about, I've had some interesting experiences. So I do talk about those to a certain extent.
Yeah.
And I think that might I don't know if that deters people from, like, you know, sleeping with me or whatnot, because I do talk about, but I don't talk about everybody I've ever slept with, obviously, but there are certain situations where I've been in
for an hour.
where I'm, what's that?
Because you'd be there for an hour.
Yeah, but it's also the fact
I'm
that,
just
like,
kidding.
I don't feel like, not everybody gives me something to talk about, but I have been there's one situation that I do talk about, because it was like the whole, that was the situation where I text my friend, I'm like, please come get me right now. So I do talk about that on stage because it was just a little bit shocking for me. But other than that, no, I don't talk about it.
What are the
too
topics
much.
you do when you're up there?
I talk about, like, stuff that I observe, like, just in everyday life. I talk about stuff that happens to me. Like, I had this lady, I wrote a joke. I had this guy email me. I always fuck that up, even when I say it on stage. I had this guy email me. I did a show at Side Splitters, and I left Side Splitters that night, and I'm coming back to do the Saturday shows the next day. And BT, who's the manager over there, he emails me and he goes, hey, this guy from last night wanted your email, but obviously I can't legally give him your email without you, like, confirming it. So do you want to talk to him? He said he had a question for you. And I'm like, yeah, cool. And I have a really innocent mind. Like, I'm super innocent. Like, so, okay, in some extent, but I like, if somebody says that to me, I'm thinking, oh, he must have a question about comedy.
Yeah.
Like, I just have an innocent way of thinking. Like, there was this girl, and in all fairness, I thought, like, she had a boyfriend, so I thought she was straight, but, like, she invited me over one night to like drink with her, and then apparently the next day at work was, like, crying because I didn't fuck her, and I'm like, well, how did I know? And she's like, I invited you over to my house to drink. Like, what do you think? And I'm like, I don't know. I thought you were straight. Like, why didn't you make a move on me? Like, I don't know. So I just have a really innocent way of thinking sometimes. I try not to think too far into stuff. So anyway, this guy emails me, and I'm like, hey, BT told me you had a question. Like, what's going on? Oh my God, this guy literally, and he sent me a picture of his wife, and he asked me if I would fuck his wife. Like, I guess his wife wanted to fuck me. So he emailed me, and he's like, yeah, do you want to, like, fuck my wife? And I'm like, not in ever, but cool. And he's like, she's such and such years old, but she doesn't look it. And I'm like, she looks every bit of it. And so I wrote a joke about that. Yeah, just situational stuff. I fly a lot, so I drive a lot. So I have jokes about driving. I have jokes about flying. I have jokes about sex. I have jokes about I have jokes about shit that I've seen on TV. Just a mix between, like, you know, jokes and storytelling. Sometimes shit just comes off the top of my head. Yeah. Other times I sit down and I have to think about it. Like, I thought it took me one time, like, there's literally some stuff that I've come up with where I'm like, that's fucking hilarious. I don't know how I came up with it, but that's fucking funny.
You seem very quick-witted. I feel like when you're up there and you're in the zone.
Yeah, I am. I can be. There's, God, I forget. I can't remember what I said to this guy, but yeah, there have been times where I've just, like, shot shit back at people, and I'm like, where did that come from? I'm impressed with myself.
Are you good with hecklers?
Yeah, and that's something that comes with time. Usually, though, even if I can fire off, like, a joke at them, I won't, just because, like, they start to think that they're, like, part of the show. Yes. And so really, I know it's not the most creative thing in the world, but I will literally just stand up there. There was one lady, like, when I was at Side Splitters, and she was right, like, on the side of the stage, and she just kept, like, she just thought she was part of the show. And I won't even stand there. I won't even, like, really point at people or, like, bring them into the conversation, because then they're like, oh my God, I'm part of this. And so, but I will literally just stand there and I'll just be like, shut the fuck up. Seriously, shut the fuck up. And they'll either shut the fuck up or they'll keep talking to you. And I've gotten to a point where sometimes where I'm like, shut the fuck up. or I'm going to have them throw you out. And then they will shut up.
Does
Then
it get
they'll
laughs?
stop talking. Oh, yeah. People love it when you just stand up there and you're being funny and then you're like, shut your fucking mouth.
You know who you remind me of? You're like a girl version of Jim Florentine. You have the edge of Jim Florentine, just less angry about the news, but just how you don't give a fuck. You're like a Jim Florentine or a Jim Norton type. Because not that many female comedians. I mean, the biggest one right now is Nikki Glaser or Amy Schumer, and their humor is more friendly, like where they relate to females. It seems like, because I saw them live at Oddball, and I feel.
Oh, did you go to Oddball? I went
Yeah.
to Oddball. Oddball was a fucking blast.
Oh yeah. Jeff Ross was funny.
Did you meet him?
No, I didn't get to meet anybody.
Dude, he was walking around like in between every
I was
set.
in the bleacher shit. I had the cheap seats.
If you literally but he was doing it on purpose. Like he wanted like to be like the center of attention. But at one point, him and like TJ and like a bunch of them were hanging out there. Obviously, like Amy Schumer and Aziz Ansari weren't going anywhere near the outside. But yeah, they were out there. Like he was cool, but you could tell like Jeff Ross like wanted attention. He was like, I'm not the biggest name on this bill, so I'm gonna go out here and like purposely like show my face. And he looked fucking terrible. Like he looked like
Old?
He looks like, yeah, like just a fat shaven, misshapen dick. Like that's just what his head looks like to me. Is like he's just like gross looking now. But yeah, Oddball was fun though. Anthony Jeselnik was really good.
You know what was great? People that didn't go are not going to care what we're about to talk about. But that one fat comedian.
I was just going to say that
when
lady.
She had that lesbian up there.
Dude.
That was,
and she was like whipping her tit out and all this stuff. And I'm like, what the fuck? And I've seen, and she's really good friends with Amy Schumer. And I've seen her other stuff. And she will literally, you can't do it at Oddball because the stage is just different. But she's done shows where she's like straddled like the seats in the audience and just like grinded her crotch like on these dudes' heads. And she's not wearing any underwear or anything. She's got a dress on. And she's just like, yeah. And she's not an attractive lady. Like,
but it makes it funny.
It is fine. I mean, it's definitely shock comedy if that's what you're into. Like, she's definitely going above and beyond for. I mean, she pulled her tit out and then just like chugged like a bottle like on the stage, and I'm like, yep, do you, I guess, if that's what you do.
How about when she brought that one butch lesbian up there and the girl was all excited and then she sat on her face? I was
my
dying
God.
laughing.
Yeah, I mean, it's crazy. That's what I say though. Like, that's what she does. She'll just go to the audience, she'll just fucking sit on people's faces and shit. Yeah.
Oh my God, was she great.
Yeah.
She was just like having guys like motorboat her out of nowhere. And she did it to one married guy and the girl looked so pissed.
Oh, I'm sure.
That show was just funny in general.
Sure. Yeah, it was good. It was a good show.
What is your dream show? What do you want to do in 5 years, Amanda Jordan?
Oh God, 5 years. In 5 years, I hope that in 5 years I would like to be prominent in LA and be building off of that.
That's your dream, I can tell.
Dream gig would for sure be Madison Square Garden, 100%. Yeah, I would. My thing is I want to take it as far as it can go. So
I'm the same way with radio.
Yeah.
I want to go to the top.
Yeah. So I mean, and I think people will sit there and they'll go, that's unrealistic, or that only happens to so many people. Okay,
it's like, shut up. Why can't it be us?
Right. Why can't it be you? I mean, Amy Schumer just won an Emmy for her last year for her
you think her show's funny?
Yeah, I think it's hilarious.
I like it.
You know, like, why not? And the only reason you're not going to do that is because you're sitting there and you're telling yourself that it's too hard to do, or that it can't happen to you.
I was the same way.
So if I sit here and I want it to happen, I believe that it can. And I get it. Like, Hollywood's a game and people are stepping on each other and whatever else, and that's fine. But if that's what you have to do, then that's what you have to do. I
learned when I worked on the show in Cleveland, they were just a bunch of people that made fun of each other.
Yeah, that was Rob's old show, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
What I learned is just don't trust anybody.
And I mean, and I think that goes with, you know, a lot of things in life. I think that, not in a negative sense, but I think you should always be prepared. Not necessarily that you're dwelling on it and that you're thinking about it a lot, but like, to me, like, letting me down and disappointing me is not really, it's not going to happen as easily as it would have like 5 years ago, because I'm prepared for that shit now, you know? So it's like nothing that you're going to do is really going to shock me. Like, if I'm in a relationship with you and, like, you know, shit goes wrong, yeah, it's sad, but I'm not going to sit there and be like, oh my God, I'm going to mope around for 3 weeks, because it is what it is. Or I think you just always need to be prepared. Like, you know, you should expect the best, but you should prepare yourself for things to happen so that you can adapt to them. You know, you're not, like, I know kids that have gone out to LA and they come back because, you know, they think, oh, it's going to be just as easy, and it's not. I'm not saying that people out there are as talented, because I've heard otherwise, but there's a lot more of them. And there's a lot more competition, and you'll go to a comedy club at 8 o'clock at night, and you'll go on at 2 o'clock in the morning in front of one person until you start, you know, paying your dues. And that's just how it works. And people don't like that. People like to be in their comfort zone, and they like to go, okay, I could do that, or I could go to Side Splitters, and I could go up whenever I want to because they know me there. And, you know, and that's great. And if that's what you want to do, There was just a guy that was on Roger and JP the other day, and he was a comedian. I forget his name. And he said, I've just never had a desire to move and make it big. I'm perfectly fine with making a decent living and touring comedy clubs and being with my family and blah, 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 blah. And if that's what you want to do, that's great. I mean, if that's enough for you, but me personally, it would not be enough for me. Like, if I'm not taking it as far as it can go, then I'm not doing it at all.
My goal is I just want to make it where I'm a big enough name where I'm respected and I don't need a second job. That's all I want.
Yeah.
Obviously, I want to have a nice house and a nice car and a great family. And I really want to make it in this area because I can't survive in the cold. I'm a pussy when it comes to that.
You're from Chicago.
Exactly. When I was fat and I was 295 up there, I was a big, tall teddy bear, but now that I'm skinny and in shape, when I went out there, 20 degrees, I was shivering like a little bitch. By the way, that annoys me. Are you from Florida?
Yes.
Shut up to anybody from Florida who goes, oh my God, it's 58 out, I'm freezing, and they have a scarf on. Shut up.
You shouldn't have a scarf on right now.
I've seen that. I've seen that.
Oh, I saw it the other day.
Like,
somebody at work had an infinity scarf on. I'm like, what are you doing right now?
I called somebody out at Winn-Dixie because they were bitching about, isn't it cold out? I'm like, no, I was just in Chicago last week.
Yeah.
Could you do 10 degrees?
Yeah.
She shut up. I was like, exactly, honey.
I was just in Atlanta, and it's like it's like 30 there right now. And I'm like, oh, actually, it's probably a lot colder there right now.
Before I let you go,
yes,
where can people find your work online, and when are some of your shows?
Oh my God.
There's so many to count. You want me to...
I will be, let me think.
So many to count from. You're such a grinder. That's why I see you making it real soon. Is you're like, oh my God, where to begin?
Next week I will be at Two Palms in Clearwater on Saturday, the 23rd, and then I will be at the Palladium in St. Pete on the 29th. I believe that's a Saturday. Let me check. No, I don't want that.
How often do you perform at Side Splitters?
Very often. I'm okay. No, the 29th is a Friday, so I will be at the Palladium the 29th on Friday. Not that this matters to anybody here, but I will be in Atlanta the 2nd, 3rd, and the 4th. And then of February. And then Wednesday, February 10th. I will be at Kymatic Studios in St. Pete.
And I'll be sure to retweet it, too, when I see it out. So I can help promote it, just because you've been good on the show.
Thank you. And then Saturday the 13th, I will be in Orlando. And then... do I have anything else in February?
You are so busy. I'm impressed.
Thank you. And then March 3rd through the 5th, I will be at Side Splitters in Tampa.
All right, Amanda. Where can they find you online?
I have, if you go to YouTube, type in Amanda Jordan Comedy. Also, if you go to rooftopcomedy.com and type in my name, you can find some of my stuff on there. You got to make a website. I know, I do.
Talk to Law Smith. He's good with Squarespace.
Yeah.
Talk to Law.
I have a bunch of people. I do need to get on that. I just have not. I've just been so busy. I have not gotten around to it. And where else? I think that's it. I'm never on Twitter, so probably don't.
You need to get that game going. Trust me, Twitter is huge. I know everyone says it, and you roll your eyes. Trust me, you need to get on Twitter and do it.
I mean, I'm on Twitter. I just never post anything on Twitter.
Trust me.
Facebook is mostly where I'm at. So Twitter is the Amanda Jordan, and then Facebook is just Amanda Jordan, and then Instagram is at the Amanda Jordan.
Can you believe it's been 70 minutes of Hoppe Hour?
Has it? Have we been in here for that long?
That's what I like about my show. I'm not trying to boost my ego.
That's what I like about radio in general. It's just time just flies. Yeah,
it's fun to do it.
Yeah,
Amanda, keep up the good work.
Thank you
love
so
what
much.
you're doing. I'm happy I'm in Tampa Bay. It's nice here, and the comedy scene is excellent. So it's been a lot of fun to have you on.
Thank you, man. I appreciate it very much.
This has been Hoppe Hour. I am your host, Ryan Hoppe, saying peace out.
Hoppe Hour. Hoppe Hour.